Away we go.
Away we go. What's up, everybody on YouTube Land, as I like to say, as you already know. Here's the guru. We're about to talk baseball with the fellas. You see, we have three on your screen. We're missing one. Ty somewhere out there in fairyland, watching Black Panther. I'm actually kind of jealous because I should be watching that movie as well. But anyway, we got a show going on here. Gonna talk some World Series, gonna talk some free agents. We got our guys with us over here. Category. So what's up to everybody?
Yo, you know my thing. I'm just happy to be here.
and we are happy that you're here. And Kyle over there is munching on a monstrosity of a burger. Looks delicious. Jealous that he's even eating that. Tell us what's in that, bro.
So it's just it's a double cheeseburger. It's got green chili. It's got New Mexico green chilies in it. And shout out to Heidi Ho and Alamogordo. This place is money right now.
Nice. So, we're gonna kick it as we do for 5 minutes. Let you guys in on what we got going on in the dish. We're looking to hopefully bring you more shows here in the off season. Most importantly, which I will get into later on in the show, we're going to have a guest on the show next week. I'm going to give you some insight on someone that does radio talk show in Philadelphia, and he's going to be on live with us, kicking it, talking MLB, hopefully free agents, the awards that are coming out next week, and then also, just seeing his favorite memories as he's a Mets fan, so seeing his favorite memories either as a Mets fan or as a MLB fan. So we'll see when he gets on next week. That's exciting news, isn't it, Storms? Our first real guest, seeing what he can bring to the dish.
Yeah, man. I always like having other people on the show, but to have somebody who's kind of recognized sports media, is on the radio side of Fox, like this, that's pretty cool. Feels like it's kind of bringing us like a kind of a step closer to where we want to be.
Oh yeah, that's always good. What you want to do in this business, you want to market, you want to get your face out there, and you want to expand your viewers. You just never know, and him being on the show would be fantastic for us. Kyle, how's New Mexico treating you, bro?
Actually, it's been pretty good. Last weekend I went out hunting, and I know you guys saw that. I went out to Roswell, didn't shoot any aliens, but went out there and shot a bunch of sandhill cranes. Man, let me tell you how much fun that is.
What kind
everything's
of
going good. What's that?
What kind of birds do you say those were?
They were called sandhill cranes.
Okay.
So these birds actually migrate from Russia, Siberia, to Alaska through Canada, and they go down the Central Flyway, which goes pretty much down the Rocky Mountains, Lubbock, Texas, and that stuff in area, and go all the way south. But yeah, pretty cool, man. It's a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Damn. So you were also saying, man, that you can only kill 3 or 5 per person. Is that right?
3 a day.
So
you can kill. Excuse me, I don't like to use the word kill, even though we all know that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You can harvest 3 a day, and you can hold up to 9. So 3 for 3 days. Once you eat like 1 or 2, you can go out and shoot 1 or 2 more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I also saw a little video you made there where you were actually chopping one up, man.
Yeah.
That's intense, man. I don't know if I could do that. I mean, that's when I went to El Salvador, I saw the one them hang a chicken by its feet and cut his neck open. It was swinging everywhere. And I was like, oh shit, get me out of here.
Yeah. So this is pretty easy, man. You just find the soft spot right underneath the sternum, cut it open it, and just rip it all the way open, and then start filleting everything out. But it doesn't bother me. I've done all kinds of other stuff. This is just another thing on the list.
No, I'm definitely that type of person that, like, I'll watch horror movies, Saw and all that shit, but if I see it in front of me, a broken ankle, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Kyle, we're not gonna end up seeing a Netflix documentary on you down the road, are we?
No, not me. I'm not like Steve Rinella over at Meat Eater. I'm not like that. But ain't nothing like that. I'm just a guy that casually goes out right now. I'm trying to just get back into it. I did it a lot when I was younger. Now I'm just slowly getting back into it. So it's easy to go with birds and start to make my way up. I'm hoping I get this elk hunt next week or the week after, next weekend. So we'll see what happens.
Damn, moving on up in the chains, huh? And damn, I like it. All right. So let's go to what we came here for. Let's start with the World Series. Let's start with all of us actually picked the Stros to take it. The Stros took it. I think most of us actually picked it in 6 too. So we were right on the money. At my end, as far as my end goes, I picked Nola and also Wheeler to win a game, which honestly I really don't remember if they did it or not. I'm pretty sure Nola did. But let's talk about the old World Series. The Dusty Baker finally getting one. Trey Mancini getting one. What a story, man. Trey Mancini.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead, Storms, kick it away. It looked like you wanted to say something. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, I was just gonna say, man, I was so happy to see Dusty get a ring. That guy has been, he has now, he's won over 2,000 games as a manager. He played in over 2,000 games in his playing career. Like, this guy's been a household name for 50 years. And he's been coaching or managing for 30. And, he just deserves it. So, and excited to see that he's coming back for another year too. I'm not an Astros fan, but if the Reds aren't in the playoffs again, which is what it's looking like is going to happen.
Way to set the bar high.
Yeah, nice. Just the week after the World Series just ended.
Hey, I am a realist, sir. We're in the middle of a complete rebuild, so I wouldn't be upset to see him get the second one. I know a lot of people don't want to see the Astros win, but you know what? Cheating scandal was 5 years ago. Most of the people involved, except for kind of a few key players, are gone. So
yeah,
the shit talk and the trolling is fun, but on a real level, get over it.
I wasn't. I'm glad you brought that up in the very beginning because I wasn't gonna bring it up at the end. But let's just kill it right now. That's over with, man. They've heard their boos. Whatever happened. They got their championship because of it. Now, guess what? They got a second one. They didn't have to cheat. They got it fair and square. And this was after, and we always say it. And we're going to say it even more now because they won the World Series after this. This is after them losing 2 bona fide superstars, one in center field and shortstop, and 2 people taking over, which Tucker has been amazing in right field. And then Pena, the rookie, now World Series MVP, ALCS MVP. And I mean, if it wasn't for a guy by the name of, I went blank in Seattle. What's his name? Holy crap. The rookie of the year?
J-Rod.
Yeah, J-Rod. Damn, I don't know why I went blank. Rodriguez. He would be AL MVP. I mean, in all honesty.
You mean rookie of the year?
Yeah, rookie of the year, excuse me. So for him to win ALCS MVP and World Series MVP, man.
My bad.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mentioned this before the show too, but this is such a huge thing for them. Like, when they lost Correa, a lot of people were kind of like, they're probably not gonna. They're gonna be good, but they're not gonna be the same Astros. And it was kind of a big question mark what they were gonna get out of him. And here he goes down the stretch, like you said, and wins ALCS MVP, and he won both series MVP awards that he could possibly win, all of them for this year. And guess who never won a series MVP award in his entire career?
Who?
The man he replaced, Carlos Correa. Now, I'm not obviously saying that he's Carlos Correa now, but the future looks bright in Houston. I know they've got several older players, but they've also got a lot of really talented youth on that team. And within the organization, I mean, their farm system's still loaded. So,
yep. Go ahead, Kyle. What you got to say, bro?
Astros pitching is absolutely amazing. It just seems like, well, except McCullers, he didn't do anything. But outside of him,
mid colors.
you know what's friggin' hilarious to me? After they won, he was given like the speech pep talk in the dugout in the clubhouse, like he was the team captain. I'm like, bro, you didn't do anything. You single-handedly lost a game for the team. But outside of what he did in the postseason, he had a really good regular season. The pitching, though, from top to bottom, the throw a no-hitter in the World Series, it was amazing, So after all of everything else that happened, the guys that don't get looked at, man, the guys in the bullpen, I mean, if you're on the back end, yeah, but everyone else in between who knows who they are, you know what I mean? But shout out to the Astros bullpen. You guys are awesome. The pitching from top to bottom's awesome. Dusty handled his business. Finally got what he needed. Easily a Hall of Fame coach. Skipper. But don't knock the Phillies, man. I mean, Phillies came out with a bunch of young dudes too, and unfortunately couldn't get it done. But Harper, I hate saying that name. Harper looked good, man. He looked good in the playoffs. He was dominant, but it just wasn't enough to knock the Phillies, knock the Astros off. But they look good, man. Top to bottom. I think, like we said, pitching wins. Pitching sure as shit won for them.
By the way, speaking of the Phillies, how good is MLB feeling about expanding the playoff field? Like, think about this. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if it expands again sooner rather than later, because now this isn't going to happen every year, where a 6 makes the World Series, obviously. But to have it happen the very first year when they were already considering a bigger field than this in the first place, the players are going to want as many shots at a ring as they can get. So you better believe the union's going to be open to expanding the field again.
Yep.
And TV money, extra ticket sales, all that stuff.
Yeah. They hit it out the park, man. They hit a home run, no pun intended. Who the hell thought, the fucking Phillies were going to make the World Series? Nobody.
I didn't.
I didn't.
Phillies fans.
Yeah, right. They were the third best team in the NL East to make it to the playoffs, and they're the ones that make it to the World Series. The only team in the NL East to make it out of the first series that they play in.
They kind of reminded me of the Cardinals from what was that, 2011, and the outside of the obvious Bryce Harper connection, the Nationals. I know they won after he left. Mm-hmm. But, all 3 of those teams sort of backed their way into the playoffs. That was one of the years where the Cardinals didn't go on a tear to make it. They, didn't look great heading into the postseason. and
They
then
hung
all
around.
three of them. And the Phillies didn't really back their way into the playoffs. They were hot for a good long while. The reason I say that is because the Brewers fumbled the bag.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, the Brewers had it locked up, and they just couldn't win over the last couple of weeks or whatever it was. So, you know, and they, man, the National League playoffs were fantastic. To have not just the Phillies make it, but the Padres take down the Dodgers and have the two lowest seeds in the playoffs or in the National League playing for a trip to the World Series. Can't write that stuff, man, because if you would have asked me any time in the last 10 years that the Padres could beat the Dodgers in a playoff series, I would say hell no.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you could say that. I mean, the AL side AL side was fun too, man. Watching Cleveland play, man, you have a bunch of young guys, and for Tito to do what he did with those young guys to get as far as he did is, I don't want to say just as short as a miracle, but if you look at statistics over the last 20 years, when has there a team where their average age was like 20 something years old make it as far as they did? You know, to have that many rookie guys come up and step up into their position.
Yeah,
It just,
that's
you just don't really see that.
yeah, that was insane. They deserve a lot of praise, and they're only gonna get better, man.
Mhm.
They just got into this mini run in the playoffs. They gained a little bit of experience, and that's sometimes all you need. Now, to go back to the pitching that you were talking about, Kyle, um, 4 pitchers, man, that they signed. One being Christian Javier. In 2015, they signed him at 17 years old for a $10,000 signing bonus,
Oh,
dude.
Yeah.
And the other is Framber Valdez, and they signed him in 2015 at 21 years old for another $10,000 signing bonus.
I thought it was they got one of their pitchers was 17, right?
Yeah, that was Javier.
No, 17,000.
Oh, I don't know. No, the graph that I have here, so it shows also Luis Garcia at 20,000, and then Urquidy at 100,000.
Oh, okay. I thought Framer was 17, but that right there is just stupid.
Yes, that's their rotation. that's
Yeah,
crazy.
and yeah, man, to be able to have guys like Urquidy and yes, McCullers coming out of the bullpen. Like, I know obviously he didn't play great this postseason, McCullers, but he is still a damn good pitcher.
oh yeah.
But I mean, just to have that luxury of having those guys come out of the bullpen, where you're not having the guy that started game one come in and close a game. Like, that's just.
They're just so deep, man.
That's
And by the way, this is 2 rings in 5 years. So now, pretty much however you define it, this is officially a dynasty.
Yeah, it is.
Whether you want to talk about the legitimacy of the first one or not, they still got it. It's still in the record books. So.
And guess what? Here at the Dish, we don't give a shit. They won the World Series, so
yeah, we watched it happen.
Yeah, not being erased, nothing's going on. Yeah, it's 2, and they did it this year, losing only 2 games, winning what? So it was a 3-game set the first series, right? So they won 11.
Mhm.
They won 11-2. Man,
It's pretty good.
that's fucking nuts. Shit. And, now let's go to the NL side of it, man. All the praise in the world to the Phillies. Nobody thought they were going to be there, and for them to get there. And like I said, the 3rd best team in the NL, and, like you said, Storms, you touched on it. They didn't really back their way in, but they got in because of the expanded, playoffs. And the team that got in because of the extended playoffs made it to the World Series. That's a win-win for Philadelphia and MLB. And for Bryce Harper to have his come out party, so to say, he was money for them. How about the NLCS where he hit that game winning home run to send them to the World Series? That was, what more could you ask from the guy? He basically carried the team, and he was 2 wins away from being a world champ. What you got to say, Kyle?
It's so I'll touch that on in a second, but I want to bring this up. Clayton Kershaw is going back to the Dodgers for 1 year.
Oh,
that just happened.
Okay.
And that's Rosenthal reported that.
Okay.
As of 4 minutes ago.
I'm not shocked he's going back, but I'm shocked that it happened that fast.
Yeah, me too.
Well, they didn't offer him a qualifying offer. So I think they already knew, like, this is the number we're going to give you and you're just going to accept it. I think he's just going to do it. That's my thing.
It'll be, let's touch on that a little bit more, man, because, and then we'll go back to Philadelphia because that's breaking news.
Yeah, let's talk shit while Ty's not here.
He can't defend himself.
To be honest, that's one of the few pitchers this era, and it doesn't even include DeGrom, because, DeGrom, he's been doing a little shorter period of time than Kershaw has, but it'll be weird to see him in a different uniform, meaning Kershaw.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't make any sense. So I think it's one of those things it gives him an opportunity to retire as a Dodger.
Right.
Good for him.
I don't see him going to another team. It's just one of those guys that he was farm raised in the Dodgers system. He's gonna live, die, and well, he's gonna retire, retire, and die as a Dodger in Dodger blue. So it's just one of those things, man. They didn't. Yeah, it says Dodgers opted not to extend Kershaw on a qualifying offer. It was clear their intent was bringing him back into their rotation. Andrew Friedman said, things just feel more right in the world when Kershaw is wearing a Dodgers uniform. This is just how it lands with us, but he couldn't respect more of him and Ellen going through his process, but it's definitely a real priority for us, and we're hopeful he'll be in Glendale with us. But his biggest thing, and they probably didn't want to give him a super high qualifying offer, is he can't stay healthy, man. When you lose 4 or 5, or more starts from essentially your ace, that hurts your team in the long run. But there's a lot of guys that are on there, that Urias, Gonsolin, those guys, Dustin May, like, those guys are going to hold down that rotation for a long time, even after Kershaw decides to retire.
Yeah, and I want to just throw something in there. Trevor Bauer really fucked him. To be honest, with what happened and him not being able to play or pitch with the Dodgers, he really messed that up, because it could have been Kershaw, Walker, Buehler, Bauer, May. You know what I mean? That would have been filthy.
How much did they end up paying him? Actually pay, not the contract. How much did they actually pay him?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna see if I can look that up. But go ahead and touch on Kershaw signing back, man.
Oh, this is huge, really, for them, and for kind of that reason. They do have a wealth of starting pitchers, but they don't have a wealth of starting pitchers that are really proven. Well, I guess a lot of them. I still feel like they need to add a starting pitcher, because they have good rotation pieces, but if they want to have like top 3 rotation, they shouldn't be done adding. But I think this was a big piece because especially if they're going to go out and get starting arms, you know, they do have enough guys to run like a 6-man rotation if they can get guys to buy into it. And, you know, I've talked about this a bunch. Clayton Kershaw is not a guy anymore that can go out there and start 30, 35 games and then give you Clayton Kershaw type performance deep in the playoffs. He just doesn't have that type of stamina anymore. So, you know, if it was me running the Dodgers, I would, whether I can get I would try to get some sort of 6-man rotation going with him.
Kind of like what Syndergaard or the Angels did with him, you know, skipping him through the rotation just so he doesn't get hurt, stuff like that. Yeah, that's the way to go. So to answer your question about Bauer, he made 17 starts for the Dodgers. They paid him a total of $41.5 million, and that is about $2.4 million a start for 17 starts, according to the LA Times. That's a lot of money.
So he played half a season. So his AAV rate compared to games played is like $83 million.
Yes.
Wow.
That's insane. That's a lot of money. So let's throw it back to the World Series. Go ahead, Kyle. Go back and talk about the Phillies, man, what they did and how they got there.
So the Phillies, to me, going into the postseason, it just seemed like the Phillies, it's just one of those teams that if you let them into the postseason and you let them compete, they are going to wreak a lot of havoc. And they did. One of the biggest question marks that we have going, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to say we because I don't remember. One of the biggest concerns for me for the Phillies going into the playoffs was their pitching wasn't deep. I've said this multiple times on other shows. Pitching's a big deal with me because I watch my team, the Sox, suck so bad this year because they have almost no pitching whatsoever. And I know how important it is because the Red Sox have I want to say it's a top 5 offense in the American League to top that. It just blows my mind that the Phillies, every time they get in, they are going to do some amazing stuff. And I think they rely so heavily on the long ball. And they did. And it showed because they struck out like, I couldn't remember what the number was, but like through the AL or the NLCS, it was like 70 something times or whatever. It was a really ridiculous high number. But you see them thrive when they hit the long ball. But we know when it comes playoff time, you're facing number 1, 2s, and 3s, starting pitchers, from the time you get in the postseason until the last pitch of the World Series. You're not facing scrubs. You're not facing the number 4 for the Pirates, you know, in the postseason. You're not. You're facing somebody that could probably be a good number 2 on most teams, if not an ace on another team.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't just rely on the long ball. You have to rely on, which we didn't see a whole hell of a lot of it in the postseason. You have to rely on stolen bases. You have to rely on hit and runs and all those other things. We saw a couple stolen bases. Shout out to Kyle Schwarber giving us tacos this year. I'm just saying, from Taco Bell. But of all guys, I wasn't expecting him to be the guy that steals the base to get America free tacos. But hey, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
He stole a base and we all stole tacos.
Yep. But you have to do those things. You have to do the little things. And then if you hit the long ball, it's an addition. You can't just rely on the long ball, which is what seemed like the Phillies were trying to do for most of this most of the postseason. But
So I'm gonna throw some facts behind what you were saying. The
Okay.
Phillies struck out the most in the postseason with 165 strikeouts.
Yep.
165 strikeouts. They also have the most hits in the playoffs with 113.
Yeah.
And also they have the most home runs with 24. And to go with also what you were saying, as far as strikeout goes, their top on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have the top out of the top 8. 6 of the 8 are Phillies in strikeouts this postseason. Hoskins, Realmuto have 24 each. Castellanos and Schwarber had 18 each. Marsh had 17, and Bohm had 16. Just to there were some numbers out there on how much they rely on the long ball, and it was basically all or nothing. And you can tell, especially them playing in some small fields, both in Houston and in Philly. And when they got to Philly, the crowd played. It's crazy. We talk about home field advantage a lot, but to me in baseball, I think it's the biggest one because of the crowd noise, how the series can swing, meaning 2-3-2. And then you saw with the Phillies when they got to Philadelphia, wow, like that crowd went nuts.
they were greasing light poles getting ready.
Like, the Phillies didn't win, 2 of those games, but still, it was just amazing to see the crowd, and the Phillies knew it. I mean, they went out and took game 3, and at that point they were up 2-1, and you were like, oh, the Phillies have a shot. You know what I mean? Like, we were like, oh, wow.
So you talked about the pitching, you talked about the offense. I want to talk about their defense because huge shout out to Rob Thompson for going with Bryson Stott at shortstop over Didi Gregorius. I mean, the reason we talk about shortstops being one of, if not the most important position on the field, it's between that and catcher. I'd probably go short and then catcher. And the big reason for that is a lot of defenses feed directly off of how their shortstop is playing, because shortstop's going to generally get, the most balls.
Pause.
Yeah. Yeah. Big pause. But I mean, the difference that Stott made for the Phillies, like, they played some damn good defense in the postseason. And that was the entire year. That was my big knock on the Phillies was, God, they were a terrible defensive team before making that move. Just absolutely trash. And to see the turnaround they made in order to go on the run, not just to make the playoffs, but obviously get all the way to the World Series. Man, I think at the beginning of the season, I made a comment sort of like, oh, that's right. Off season, when they were making trades and free agent signings, I said they looked at the Red Sox defense failing them in the playoffs last year and said, I want that.
Yep.
And, I mean, they basically were at the beginning of the year, they were like a 2021 Red Sox light. And they've come a long way, and quite honestly, in hindsight, I do feel like maybe some of us should have seen not a World Series berth, but a little bit of a run coming. Just looking at how well they performed for 2 months with Bryce Harper on the shelf.
Hey, made it on camera again.
She always loves coming on camera, man.
Also, by the way, this is an official announcement. And I'm making this decision for you all. You're welcome. But the Dish is officially removing the overrated tag from one Mr. Bryce Harper.
Yup. Gonna have to.
It's gone. It's done.
And we're probably a little bit late on that too.
Maybe, but whatever. Better late than never, they say. So I was actually the one to tell you guys that Philadelphia was going to be a good team. And I actually picked them to finish a close second in the NL East, which they didn't because my Mets actually found a way to stay healthy, which is a fucking miracle. But I told you guys that they were actually going to be a good team and that their one downfall could have been their defense or their bullpen. And their defense was in the regular season. But like you said, Thompson taking over made a huge difference. And, you know, to tie in together the AL and the NL, you know, what Miguel Cairo did for the White Sox in the regular season, Thompson did for the Philadelphia, I was going to say Eagles, holy shit, for Philadelphia Phillies in the playoffs. So huge shout out to him, man. He deserves to stay an extension, give the man a contract. You know, whatever you guys got to do over there in Philadelphia.
They did sign him, I think, for a couple years.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say make a GoFundMe, but never mind. You can erase that idea. So yeah. Now, how about we tie all this together and we talk about some big free agents. One being Justin Verlander. Where do you guys, just throw it out there, man? Does he come back? Does he go elsewhere? You know, now that we heard Kershaw is going back to LA and Ty, can go to sleep happy tonight, knowing that his best pitcher, or not his best pitcher, his favorite pitcher on the planet isn't going anywhere. Do you think Verlander stays just like Kershaw did, or is he going to chase some money, or is he going to chase another ring with Houston? Because I mean, if he wants a ring, he's going to stay. Because I mean, let's
like there's really, I don't really think there's any other choice. I don't think he's going anywhere. Why the hell would you leave that situation? You know, I don't think, you know, Houston's gonna they're gonna pay him. You know, they didn't want to pay Correa and people were calling him cheap. Now it's probably just because Pena was ready and they would rather wanted to give him a shot versus trading him away or, you know, letting him waste away in the minors for a while. But Crane already, like, didn't he already say that they want to bring him back and that they've already been talking about it?
They've been saying that. Verlander, yeah.
Yeah, no, I know, but didn't Jim Crane say that himself?
No, I didn't hear that.
I don't recall.
But why not? I mean, let's be honest. Out of the two pitchers, the two big name pitchers right now, DeGrom and Verlander, the one that has to prove something more than the other is DeGrom. Verlander doesn't have to prove anything. Verlander got his money, has his ring. DeGrom hasn't gotten either. You know, because he signed for a discount with the Mets last time he was up, and now he opted out because the pitcher that they brought in last year, which is Scherzer, got more money than he has, and he wants both a money and a ring. So I'm with you, Storms. I'm tending to say Verlander stays. Now, I don't see Houston going after another big name pitcher because I don't see Houston spending that amount of money. Why would they?
They don't need to.
Exactly. We just named 4 of their starting pitchers that got signed for $20,000 signing bonus. I mean, I don't know what their contracts are, but their contracts aren't what a DeGrom or Scherzer contract is. They don't need to sign a big name pitcher. They can sign a third or fourth, starter, and like, cool, do what you do, and we'll do what we do.
You know who they need to sign if they want to repeat and get him back to that team is Michael Brantley.
Yeah. He's a piece for them that they definitely need.
Man.
Always hitting 300, always on base. Huh?
He's 36 and he's always hurt the last couple of years. And for him to be 36 and hurt the last couple of years, and his injuries are lower injuries, legs, hamstrings, knees. That's a hard. Yeah, he's going to hit 300, but it's only 300 over 68 games or something.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but maybe he finds a way to stay healthy. And
Yeah.
if you're the Astros, you've got nothing to lose by bringing him back for another year.
Yeah.
To see, because if he is healthy and he is the same Michael Brantley, then you're damn near unbeatable.
Yeah.
Even more so than you are already. And if he's not, then you're still, they've got some other decent names out there that are leaving the team, but they're pretty much still the same 106 win Astros if he can't stay on the field.
They just got a lot of dinosaurs on that team, man. Verlander's old as shit.
Gurriel.
Gurriel, yeah, like those dudes are all dinosaurs, but they all do something really well. Verlander, for some reason, is father time. And then you got Gurriel just hits. That is a hitting machine by himself. And I don't understand how he does it because of how old he is. And then, Brantley's the same way. Brantley's just a lefty bat that's going to hit 300 for you.
When the Astros are on the road, do you think they get a senior discount on Gurriel's hotel room?
I was just about to pick on Gurriel too. I was just about to say, you saw how awkward he felt, like when he got his knee injured. It's not funny that he got injured, but damn, what is that thing called that they put around the elders' necks?
Life alert?
Yeah, he looked like he needed a life alert.
Shit, someone's gonna meme that shit tomorrow.
Like I fall and I can't get up type of shit.
Get that man a hover round.
Yo, but no, honestly, man, the Astros are just so deep. They really don't need to do anything. Like they really don't.
They could put their money in. I know how valuable Maldonado is as a catcher to that pitching staff, but Maldonado as a hitter is you might as well just have a bucket of balls stand at the fucking plate and take 3 strikes, because that's what Maldonado is. He's a sub 200 hitter, if that. And I don't think he's that great defensively as a catcher, but you can get somebody younger and do just as much as what he has done. Maybe their goal is to get a catcher. During the trade deadline, they went out and got Vasquez. Vasquez had tons of playoff experience, has a ring already before getting this one.
It came up with some clutch hits in the World Series too.
Yeah.
Well, and don't forget, before Vasquez, they were supposed to be putting together a deal for Wilson Contreras.
Yep. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit for free agency, but
so the Phillies don't really have big name free agents, which I was going to touch on, but their biggest name is probably Segura, and they're trending a different way in which the Houston Astros are, because the Houston Astros have been good for a while. I'm just going to name the biggest, free agents that the Astros have, which is Verlander, Brantley. We touched on those two. The other two are Mancini, Gurriel, and also, let's say, Vasquez, like a backup catcher.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and back to what we said earlier in the show, you can replace those with any other player in the MLB because they don't. Honestly, Gurriel would probably be the only one in that list, and Verlander, that you would re-sign, but everybody else you can just really get a role player, You know, you hit the nail on the head, Kyle. They got, Mancini and also Vasquez, in the trade deadline. And, Mancini for the Orioles, he was the face for the Orioles for a couple of years. And he came into the Astros and into their lineup, and he was barely playing because they're just so deep.
Well, and not only that, like he didn't really perform very well for them either when he did play. And because of that, I'm kind of wondering, like, the Orioles traded him because they didn't want to pay him what they thought he was going to be worth this offseason. How much does that affect what he gets? Could he end up back in Baltimore?
I think he was a rental anyways. I didn't think he was going to sign. I don't think the Astros were going to re-sign him at the end of the season. I think it was, we're just going to add depth of somebody who can hit with decent average with a lot of power upside. And I think Baltimore knew that. And honestly, with how much he's talked about loving Baltimore, just like Vasquez talks about how much he loves Boston, I bet you both those guys go back to those teams.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking, because I mean, not only does he talk about loving Baltimore, but man, other than like Aaron Judge and Clayton Kershaw and even Freddie Freeman still in Atlanta, I don't know if there is a fan base that loves a player more in Major League Baseball.
Right.
So moving on from these two teams, we talked about the Royal Series. We talked about a little bit about their free agents. Let's talk about the top 3 free agents that are out there. We all know about Judge and, what he brings and what he can bring to the team. And look what he did in his final year contract there with the Yankees. But let's add 2 more to the list and make it a little interesting. I think the top 2 free agents outside of him are Trey Turner and DeGrom, because DeGrom has been the best pitcher for a while in the league. Judge, off of the year he had, betted on himself, and he's going to cash in somewhere. And Trey Turner, just being the superstar that he is and doing everything he does in the game and playing, I think he plays every single position except catcher. You know what I mean? Which is nuts. But let's talk about them, man. First, Judge. Let's get the big. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Is he going to stay in New York? Is he going to San Francisco? Is he going to go to LA? What do you guys think? I'll actually, you know what, Kyle, I'll push it over to you because I know you're going to have something interesting to say.
I'm more worried about where Joey Gallo is going to go. With his 4.8 WAR.
My God.
No, I'm just messing around.
But by that he means he's just watching, hoping, and praying that he doesn't end up in Boston.
I don't think. Nah, he wouldn't go there. It's tough, man. You're looking at a predominant right fielder, 31 years old. How high of a level do you think Judge can play at for the next couple years?
Let me touch on that a little bit though. You said right fielder. You're right. He did play center field this year, but he played it in Yankee Stadium, one of the smallest center field to play in baseball.
Right.
Now, the teams that are interested in him, San Francisco, LA, those are huge outfields. He is not going to play center field.
You'll have to. LA would have to put Mookie in center.
Yes, 100% if that happened. So go ahead with your thought, because I wanted to clarify that.
So, as a right fielder, your options aren't as limited as if you were just to label him as an outfielder, right? Now, 31 years old is how long can he play at this type of a level? The one that he pretty much
bought himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He invested everything into himself. He said no to a pretty nice sizable contract that I think none of us three would ever decline ever. Unless we had that kind of a talent. He literally bought into himself. I realistically, and we've brought this up a lot of times, the Yankees need him more than he needs the Yankees. That being said, the Dodgers can find a way to move Belly and move Mookie to center. Judge is going to fit right in pretty easily. And for him to have the protection in the lineup, because honestly, where's he going to hit in the lineup? 2, 3. At this point, it doesn't matter. He's going to be protected from the top to the bottom and everyone else in between. So does it make sense? Yeah. Well, Andy's from California. San Francisco is another place that everyone's been talking about hot and heavy, right? San Francisco, from reading all the reports, is wanting to buy everybody this year. They want to pick up as many people as they possibly can. They have a lot of young talent, but they need veterans. And why not grab the best veteran, free agent on the market? Excuse me. And Aaron Judge, one of them, right?
Yep.
But realistically, if I had to take a guess, I think Aaron Judge is going to stay in New York. I don't think he's going to go anywhere else. I think he is too loyal to the cause. Them doing the judge's chamber out in the outfield and all that other stuff, and all that stuff that they do for him, they're going to make an offer that will hurt the Yankees, but it's to keep Aaron Judge. And that's what's going to happen. He's just going to stay, but they're going to overpay for him.
How many years?
He'll probably, oh man, 7 or 8. 7 or 8, I think.
Yeah, I feel like for me, if I was a GM making an offer, I feel like 8 is about as long as I'd be willing to go.
Yeah, because he'll be 39 at the end of it. And he's 31 now, and I don't know when his birthday is. So realistically, he'll probably be 40.
Yeah, and like you were saying, how long is he gonna be? Like, I feel like realistically, you're looking at $300 million for maybe 3, maybe 4 more years of an elite top tier player. And then another 3 or 4 years of between on the cusp and being a second tier guy.
Yeah.
Like solid second tier. And then, at the last year or two, who knows, by the time guys get that age, especially position players, they're, look at Nelson Cruz. He's not even a position player.
Right.
Yeah. We always say baseball is a weird sport. You don't hit your apex of your career until you're like this age.
Well, unless you're Albert Pujols.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're 31, 32, 33. That's about your apex, and then you start going down. And he's 31. So really, you're going to be paying for 3 good years. Yeah, 3, 4 good years. And then the rest is like you live with it. It's going to turn out to probably be like that Robinson Cano type of, contract by when it's all said and done. But go ahead, Storms, finish your thought.
Oh man, one thing I was just thinking, like you were talking about Judge on the Dodgers and where would he hit in the lineup? I gotta think you go Betts, Freeman, Judge.
Mm-hmm.
And what a 1, 2, 3, man.
That'd be stupid.
But no, I'm with you, Kyle. I don't really think he's gonna go anywhere. If he does, if he does leave the Yankees, that's probably my vote, is the Dodgers. I just don't see. I feel like you said, the Yankees are going to be willing to go over market value to keep him, and there's only two teams that are going to be able to match, and I don't know if they're going to want to, and that's the other New York team and the LA team.
Yeah. So here's my thing. And like Kyle said, we've said it over and over again. He means more to New York than the Yankees need him more than he needs them. He's proven that this year. Names and numbers put ass in seats, and he did that by himself. I say he stays in New York. And here's my reasoning behind this. Since Jeter has left, the Yankees have had no name to the franchise, no face to the franchise. And this is their one opportunity since then to do that. They're going to do it. They're going to pay the man because they're going to be stupid if they don't. Where are they going to turn to? Who are they going to turn? That, you know, you have Cole, yes, he's a good pitcher. As of right now, he's still not the best pitcher in the city because DeGrom's still there. I mean, you know, he's technically still a Met until he puts on another jersey. But they need a position player to be the face of that franchise. And they haven't had that since Jeter, and Judge is that person. Now, to go to what you guys were saying about LA, I don't necessarily think they have to get rid of Bellinger. I think Bellinger can stay and play center field. And Mookie can play right. They need a left fielder. Judge can play left field or move Mookie over to left because, you know, Mookie's a hell of an athlete, and put Judge in right, which, you know, they've always loved Bellinger. Bellinger has been part of the franchise for a while now. So whatever, you know, I think they're going to live or die with Bellinger if they don't move him. Now, the other team that I see them making a big run at Judge and is part of the reason why the Yankees want to keep him is the Giants. The Giants don't have a face of that franchise. And since Bonds has left, they did have a catcher by the name of Pouncey, but he's not there anymore. And they need a name. And Judge could fill that bill. And off of what he just did, they can, like you said, Kyle, they want to pay somebody. That somebody can be Judge, and I think they're going to make a run at him. The other New York team, meaning the Mets, there's been reports out there that actually they don't want to get into a bidding war back and forth as far as the Yankees, and they kind of want to keep it civil or whatever. I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't really see him going to the Yankees, to the Mets, even though they have the money to do so. I think he stays in New York. I'm like 85% leaning that way. The other 15 is me saying he goes to the Giants. The Dodgers, I see more them keeping Bellinger, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did get him because look at the last, 3 years now, which would be including this year if they do so with getting Judge. They've gotten the best player each of the last 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years ago, starting with Mookie Betts, last year making the trade for Scherzer and Trey Turner, and this year if they sign Judge, you know, they're on a mission. They want to spend money. They want to keep winning championships, you know, even though the one championship they won is COVID. I had to bring it up.
Stupid. You didn't even mention Freddie Freeman yet. This is so dumb.
There you go, Freddie Freeman. You see how I didn't even fucking think about that. But I could definitely see the Dodgers keeping Bellinger, but Judge possibly going to the Giants just because of what I said. And shit.
So to one thing you said, I really feel like, for one, man, Bellinger he really needs a change of scenery. And I think the Dodgers are at about that point with him too. So if you do bring in Judge, I think you figure out a way to dump Belly and make a hard run at Benintendi.
So this is what Vic said, and I think he's saying, Vic, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're saying this about anybody else, or if you're particularly talking about the Yankees. He says, if my business basically prints money, I don't care what the back half of the contract is going to be. Plus, I would go front loaded. and he's saying he turns 31 in June. Judge, so he's 30. He turns 31 in June. But like we talked about, Vic, you know, in baseball, you hit your apex generally about 32, 33-ish, you know, and you start a decline. Any more thoughts on Judge?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So something I just kind of thought about. You know, Kyle, you said you think that the Judge contract is going to end up hurting the Yankees. If they overpay by a lot, that could be right. But I do. Part of the reason that I think Judge is going to get a lot more money than anybody thinks he is. And the only, as weird as this is going to sound, as much as he ends up getting, the only team that his contract could possibly hurt is probably the Yankees, because it affects their already existing bottom line.
Mhm.
But Aaron Judge is the type of guy, and you don't have many players that have the draw that this guy does. You know, you got Shohei and maybe a couple other guys around the league, but if any team that brings Aaron Judge in is going to see 500,000 more fans walk through the gates, that's going to pay for whatever salary he gets.
That's a win. Yeah.
And then throw the TV ratings on top of it.
Yeah.
And the wins.
I mean, we're talking about just 1 year, you know, because really he's earned it in this 1 year that he's had. Let's go to Trey Turner. Trey Turner, as we all know, was in Nationals. Got traded with the Dodgers and the Nationals. Not this year, but the year before. And now he's a free agent. He's a bona fide leadoff hitter, one of the bona fide leadoff hitter that we have in the game right now, along with Kim from the Indians. But he is going to be paid. Who is going to pay him? Are the Dodgers going to pay him, retain him? Now, there's reports out there that, reports are reports. Where there's smoke sometimes. Where there's smoke, there's fire, I guess we'll see. But he wants to play in the East. And there's a couple of teams in the East that need shortstops or second baseman. So you guys think he winds up staying in LA because of the money and the potential of winning the World Series and also playing in LA and having a stacked team, or does he come home and play East? Storms, I'll kick it over to you first, man. What do you think?
I think that I don't know. This is kind of a tough one to call. I feel like there's so many high quality shortstops available that I wouldn't be shocked to see him get a number from somebody that the Dodgers don't want to match. But man, this is like a really special player. Like, all this attention has been on Carlos Correa, and rightfully so. Starting last off season, and as far as Trey Turner is as good, maybe a better overall player. Like, over the last 3 seasons, he is second in baseball in batting average and second in steals. Like, this is a true 5-tool player. He's got everything you want, not to mention the absolute sweetest slide in baseball.
Yeah.
God, I don't know, man. I was telling you guys before we went live, one of the things that I heard is that he really kind of just has a desire to be on the East Coast. And, unless he gets blown away by an offer elsewhere, I think that's where he's going. And, there's nobody that has the ability to blow a player away with an offer more than Steve Cohen. So if I got to pick a team right now, I would say I think he's probably going to be a Met.
Thank you, Storms. I fucking love you. Go ahead, Kyle. I'll give my thought afterwards. What you got, bro?
If we're looking at Trey Turner coming to the East, there's quite a few teams that you could look at. Now, if we're going to look at teams that are ready to compete in the postseason on the East Coast, you're looking at the Mets, but also look at Atlanta. With Swanson being a free agent as well. So if we're just strictly going off of WAR, Trey Turner is a 13.1, Correa is second with a 10.5, Bogey was a 10.4, and then Swanson's a 9.7. And those four are the youngest out of all the shortstops that are available this year. With 29, 28, 30, 29. So they're all right around the same age. Now, with as high level of a talent that he is, he has the pick. Ultimately, it's whoever he wants, and if they can match that number, and then if they can't match that number, it's whatever his second team is that comes closest to that number, as long as it's on the East Coast. I think that's what happens with him. But I don't know what that looks like. I mean, who else in the East really needs? I mean, anybody would get rid of their shortstop to have Trey Turner, I think. But who needs a shortstop? You know, and that's kind of what I look at. Well, Atlanta's not going to go. They're not going to go X amount of games without a top tier shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they pay for Turner, Correa, Bogey, or Swanson, they're going to get one of those four shortstops. Probably Swanson because he's a hometown kid. He's from Georgia, but you never know. Baseball is business. After college, it's a business, and they may just go out and pick up Trey Turner. I think there's a high possibility he goes to Atlanta.
If he does, I think Swanson ends up in LA.
Yeah, maybe.
Might as well just trade. The fuck?
It's hard. It's hard though, because if you look at all the extra stuff on the side, Swanson when they won the World Series, Swanson was ecstatic. He's like, I'm a hometown kid. I grew up rooting for the Braves. He's like, I always want to stay here. I always want to play here, whatever. And he did. I think he takes a hometown discount if he is given the option to stay, and even maybe in a positional change too.
Yeah, but here's my thing: if you're Atlanta, and you know Turner, you can have Turner. I mean, I get it. I get a discount and everything, but that's the move.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if Turner's interested, you got to go with Turner.
Right.
And there's always when there's a bunch of shortstop openings, there's always a little bit of musical chairs, so to speak. And also when there's a bunch of shortstop openings, it is hard for me to sit there and say that I think the best shortstop on the market is going to play second base, which is probably what would happen if Turner goes to the Mets. But, you know, McNeil can play the outfield. And I don't think because the Mets can trade McNeil. You know, they need his bat in the lineup. But so really, I think it's going to come down to whether or not Turner wants to play second base again.
Yes, that's what I was going to get to. I think it's going to be a bidding war in between the NL East. I think it's going to be between the Phillies, the Mets, and Atlanta. And I think it's going to be up to Trey Turner because of seeing what position he wants to play. If it's shortstop, he's going to go to Atlanta. if he's willing to play second base, is probably going to be the Mets. Now, if he's iffy about it and he wants to go to a team that's building and wants to join a former teammate, it's going to be Philadelphia because Harper's there. And really, he could play shortstop or second base in Philadelphia because they don't have a bona fide shortstop, nor do they have a bona fide second baseman. So he has his pick there. And, you know, he's familiar with, like I said, Harper.
Oh, yeah. If I'm Philly, I'm already talking to Stott to see if he's willing to move to second.
Yep. So I think it's going to be a bidding war between.
Your audio just cut out, bro.
Is he still talking?
Hello?
Oh, okay. We can hear you now.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, like I said before like I was telling you guys before we even got on here, I think, and I said 100%, which, yeah, I think I'm 100% sure the Mets are going to sign Trey Turner. I think they're going to put a full court press on him because he checks so many boxes that they need, man. They need a leadoff hitter. They need speed at the top of the lineup to steal bases, and they need bona fide second baseman, and they also need a center fielder. Which, hear me out, they already have Sterling Marte on the team. Nimmo is a free agent. He's going to get a lot of money, and he's a hometown kid in Colorado, and Colorado wants to pay Nimmo. They already came out and said it. They can move Sterling Marte to center. They can move the batting champ McNeil to right field, and that opens up second base for Trey Turner. So I think for the Mets is a no-brainer, to be honest with you. If they're not going to be in a bidding war, like I said earlier, with Judge, I think it just suits him so well, and he does so many things good that they need. And they want to take that next step. Trey Turner is that person that fills that many boxes for them. So I'm like 100% sure that he's going to be a Met. And watch this video come back in a month and be like, well, you're 0% right. So we'll see. But
I was going to say, you can't be saying 100% and Mets in the same sentence. You're just giving Vic ammo.
All right, 90%.
Yeah.
But you guys, any final thoughts on Trey?
No.
All right, let's move on to quite possibly the biggest pitcher in the free agent market, DeGrom. He has been awfully injured, and as a Mets fan, I've seen it firsthand. Fucking sucks having the best pitcher on your team and he's not even available. But when he is available, we have seen what he can do, and it's just amazing on the runs that he can get. Is he going to be a Met? Is he going to be a Giant? Is he going to be a Ranger? Or are the Yankees going to make a push for him? What do you guys think? Whichever you guys want to take it away. I'll throw it to Kyle, but Storms, you want to go ahead? Go ahead. I saw you nodding your head.
I don't know, man. His injuries is what scares me. He needs to go to a team that can hit. And I'm not saying the Mets can't hit.
Thanks.
I'm just saying the Mets don't hit when he's pitching, ever.
Thanks.
Dave, just throw the facts out there.
Don't think us, think the Mets.
Right?
Yeah. He needs to go to a team that can hit and put up runs, because he will do everything else after that. Now, you've already given a nice contract to Diaz, and then at this point, what's your priority? Is your priority Trey Turner, or is your priority Jacob deGrom? And that's the question that the Mets Cohen has to ask himself before he goes to bed every night to keep himself sane, to figure out where he's going to put this money, because Bassett's also on the docket for a free agency, right? And that's another good arm that you could potentially lose out on. If you're not playing this right, you're going to lose two arms instead of one, and that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think DeGrom is going to probably be a later in the free agency season signing, and I think he's going to wait to see what happens. Ultimately, if you're looking at teams that are ready now, because that's where I assume DeGrom's going to go. It's going to be a team that's ready now. What if Verlander wants too much money and the Astros say no? Does it? I mean, I don't think that'll happen. Them signing DeGrom, I think that's just a little too much. But Yankees, they're always willing to throw money at high value pitching. Red Sox are always ready to throw money at high value pitching, especially if they need it. But that'll be hard to justify because Sale and Paxton both opted into their contracts because they're not going to get money elsewhere. San Francisco makes sense. Ultimately, I think the Mets make more sense for DeGrom than anywhere else. But like I said, you can't go after one and miss both. You have to get one of those two guys. But Bassett's not DeGrom, so they would have to go out and get someone else on top of that.
To go off of what you said, Bassett is not DeGrom and DeGrom is not Bassett.
Yeah.
Bassett is not in DeGrom in as far as stuff category, and DeGrom is not Bassett as far as being available.
Right.
So
It's crazy.
They have to make a decision. Do they want a guy that's going to be pitching all year and put up numbers? You know what I mean? Or do you want a guy that's going to be sitting for 8 or 9 starts, possibly more? Because
Right.
they've seen it already. So it's their choice. But ultimately, who do you think he signs with, man?
I think he stays. Honestly, I think he stays in New York. I think they're going to throw a lot of money at him.
You think he stays? Okay.
Yeah, I think he stays.
Fair enough. The more and more I hear DeGrom's name and the more I see the free agents out there and what the Mets want to do, he's leaving. I got a dark horse though, and I'll throw the team out there after Category. Go ahead, Category. What do you think?
So normally when I think about whoever the top free agent pitcher is, I automatically throw the Dodgers on the short list. But I got to think after the last 5 years of, between Kershaw and Bauer and Walker Buehler and Trinan and Price and Dustin May the list goes on. I got to think they're tired of paying pitchers to not play.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, I think he's going to end up in one of two places. I think he's going to stay in New York if it is important to Steve Cohen to make him a Met for life, and if the idea of retiring his jersey number and all that stuff. But I don't know how true that is for the same reason I said I think the Dodgers are tired of paying pitchers to not pitch. As we say all the time, the best ability is availability.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think he's going to end up in Texas, actually. The Rangers spent $500 million on their middle infield last year, and they did that knowing full well that that's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot win in Major League Baseball if John Gray and Martin Perez are your top pitchers.
No.
So they're going to go out, and before the news that Kyle announced like 25 minutes ago, I actually thought the Rangers were going to end up with both DeGrom and Kershaw, because Kershaw talked with the Rangers a lot last year, and it seemed like he was pretty close to leaving for Texas last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Rangers are going to go out and they're going to spend a lot on pitching this year. I think they're they're going to be looking at. It's already been announced they're going to make a hard run at DeGrom. But I would expect the Rangers to sign 2 or maybe even 3, big arms.
Well, they already got Odorizzi. They just traded for Odorizzi.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So
Okay, so that's
probably
one down.
2 more. Yeah, I think you're on track. I think it's 2 more. I think they can't go out and not get at least 2 more good arms.
So I would be. I feel like both Syndergaard and Clevenger would be a good fit for that rotation too, because you've got if you end up with DeGrom, you've got Odorizzi, you've got Perez and John Gray, and so you've got basically your 1 in DeGrom, Odorizzi's 2/3, and then Syndergaard, man. The way he reinvented himself in LA last year is impressive. He's not a power pitcher anymore. He's not going to come out and overwhelm you with the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He's almost to use your favorite Houston pitcher, Kyle. He's almost McCullers like. He's going to come out and lead with the off speed and follow it up with his fastball, which is now 95, 96 instead of 99, 100.
Mm-hmm.
But both him and Clevenger they'll slot in really good with a contending team as a 3 or 4. And if they can get DeGrom, that's gonna be the kind of guy that they're gonna need. So yeah, man, I think they're gonna end up with DeGrom. I think they, missing out on Kershaw last year, DeGrom kind of fits that profile. He's a top tier pitcher who, they're thinking they may be able to get a little bit cheaper than normally you would just because he's had a hard time staying on the field. And, for the amount of time that he's had injury issues, it's very plausible to think that, maybe the Mets are ready to move on. So
That's where I think Cohen's head is at. He said a quote when he took over for the Mets. He wants to make the Mets relevant every year and wants to have a sustained winner. And he wants productivity on the field, which DeGrom has not had in a while. Yeah, when he's there, he's good, but he hasn't been available. Vic, to your point of him going to a closer, I think he's probably a year away from doing that if he continues to get hurt. Meaning the next deal he signs, if he's hurt and he misses a year, I think that conversion or that transition is going to start, because the team can't afford to have a pitcher of that caliber not have the success that he has in a role other than a closer or starting pitcher, because he's not going to be anything else. He has his stuff to close out games like Schmaltz did, when he did that for Atlanta. He was amazing for them. The other thing is the Mets, if they're going to pay him, they're going to tie up a lot of money on him, and they have a lot of holes. And I don't think they pay him and continue to have those holes because they won't improve as a team. He's going to go to a team that wants to spend money and a team that has a hole in the starting pitching. And I see 2 teams, one being the Rangers that you said, category, for the exact same reasons you said. They need pitching. They need it badly. They have a young team that he's that ace that can fill that hole. And they have somebody in the lower division ball that's Outlider's son that's going to take over when he gets up into the major leagues. And who better to learn from than DeGrom? So Texas may go that route and is thinking that way.
And
My dark horse, man, in this, and don't be surprised if they sign him, because they need pitching bad. And they haven't had pitching in a little while now. The Cardinals. I think.
shut the fuck up. No, I won't
Yeah.
allow it.
I think the Cardinals make a run at him, man. I think they offer him the money and they want him to take over as the ace. The Cardinals are always in the pennant race, man. He wants to go to a team to where he knows can make the playoffs, can get paid, has a fan base, and win a ring.
So what? They haven't been disappointed enough by Jack Flaherty?
Well, I think, you know, the potential of having him, Flaherty, and Walker's coming back in that
So is Wayno.
lineup. I mean, Wayno, sorry, not Walker, Wayno, yeah. I think the potential of having them in the rotation at the same time for them, I think, is a win now, and also a year removed from them losing their two superstars in Molina and Pujols. That's just a name to attract seats. You know, Aston seats sells, name on the back of the jersey sells, and DeGrom will sell big time with the Cardinals if he goes over there. That's my dark horse. That's my opinion. You know, I'm
God,
just
I hope
saying.
you're-
I know, you know, you're a central guy, but
Well, see, the only silver lining to that for me would be the schedule change next year. So we won't have to see the Cardinals 19 times.
yeah, that's your saving grace to that.
Uh,
But go ahead.
I was gonna say, Jorge, you mentioned, Texas and being good for Al Leiter, but you're also forgetting that Texas also have Kumar Rocker.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. You're right.
You remember? Because Kumar Rocker opted out of his draft. Well,
Yep.
he got drafted and said, no, I'm not doing this because I got drafted too low. Went and played somewhere else for a year and then came back on redraft and got redrafted by the Rangers. So the Rangers got the two best pitchers that came out of Vandy, and that would prime them real well too by having DeGrom.
Yep. They learn behind the best right now, and they're going to be the next generation. Why not? You know, and when you have the best, you take a lot of tendencies from them. And Jack Leiter and Kumar having that would be fantastic for him. You guys have anything else on the ground to say about before we close it out?
I think we've hit. I think I hit enough on DeGrom. But
Well, if he goes to any team that's not the Mets, I hope he plays just as much as time as he did with the Mets, because I'll be disappointed. But nah, man, what I wanted to get to you guys at the end of the show is next week we have a special guest. His name is Michael Powers. He has a show in Philadelphia on 103.5, I believe, or 105.3. And he's going to join us talk baseball with the Dish here live next Thursday at about the same time. You know, he knows his stuff, and we're going to be talking about the awards that come on next week, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which is AL, NL MVP, Manager of the Year, Cy Young, and I'm missing one. What's the other one?
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the Year. Thank you very much, Storms and Kyle. But join us. It's gonna be a fun show. He knows his stuff. Go ahead, Storms. So
Real quick.
Close us out.
Since we're going to be reviewing the awards next week, let's make our picks.
Ooh. All right. What are we gonna go with first? Go ahead, start off.
All right. So I got Judge and Goldie for MVP. Still Goldie.
Yeah.
I got probably NL Manager of the Year. Maybe Rob Thompson. Give me Rob.
That's who you're
Give me
gonna go
Rob. I know you're not supposed to take postseason into account, but then they should vote before the postseason ends. So give me Thompson in the NL, and Tito, Terry Francona in the AL, J-Rod for Rookie of the Year, and I know NL Rookie of the Year is probably going to be Michael Harris, but my pick is Spencer Strider.
Nah, fuck that guy. I can't stand his mustache.
You're just still mad that the Mets got some lucky hits.
We still beat him.
Anyway, moving on. And give me Alcantara and Verlander for Cy Young.
Okay. Go ahead, Kyle.
For my rookies, give me J-Rod. Oh, man, you can make a real good case for Rushman too. J-Rod. For the NL side, I'm gonna go Michael Harris on it. I do love what Strider did for the Braves this year, but give me Michael Harris. Tito, I think that's an easy one. Brandon Hyde, man. Cervantes or Brandon Hyde though, man. Give me Tito. Man, NL side. Snitker. The Braves. I mean, if you're looking at your finalists is Dave Roberts, Buck Showalter, and Snitker. Yeah,
I have a hard time with Oliver Marmol not being a finalist.
Yeah.
That's that. I'm telling you, that's that postseason bias sneaking in there because they didn't see.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. And then AL Cy Young is hard, man. You got Cease, Manoah, and Verlander. Give me Manoah, Alcantara. I'm gonna go off of what you said, but I'm gonna go Shohei, Goldie for MVPs.
All right.
That's hard, man.
That is hard. All right, I'm gonna go Rookie of the Year. I got J-Rod, Harris. I think Harris is gonna take it. Just what he did for the Braves is unbelievable. Cy Young, give me Verlander and Alcantara. I think he's gonna win it just with what he did with the complete games, innings pitched. NL Manager of the Year, give me Buck. AL, give me Tito. I just think what they did for both of those franchises, turning them around in 1 year is
Buck Showalter and not Spencer Strider. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
And what am I missing? I got
MVP.
Cy Young, huh?
MVP.
Damn. Judge. Am I going Judge or am I going Shohei? That's
You have a third option. It's Jordan Alvarez. I know he's not the answer, but you have a third option.
There's no wrong answer except Alvarez.
Nah, I think it's gonna be Judge. I don't think it's gonna be by as big as a margin that Vic is saying. Vic's just crazy, and
Not who's it going to be? Who's your pick?
that it's gonna be, and it is Judge. And I think you're right. I think Goldie's gonna take it. Yeah, Goldie had a fantastic year. It's just amazing how many people forget about Goldie. Like, what the fuck? That still blows my
He
mind.
doesn't say anything.
Yeah, you're right.
Literally doesn't talk.
He kind of like, man, once he was no longer in contention for the Triple Crown, Aaron Judge just completely overshadowed him in all coverage.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why. And then, Arenado had a really strong finish to the season to probably be the number 2.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. So before we sign off, Kyle, go ahead. Say bye to people, final thoughts, get it off your chest, whatever you want to say.
Lots of good players to watch for free agency this year. I know they just made a bunch of announcements for Silver Sluggers. Xander Bogaerts, one of the guys you need to watch, just got his 5th
Red Sox say he is their number one priority. Well, hopefully they treat him like that, and they don't treat him like they did Mookie. World Base-
Just saying.
yeah. World Baseball Classic, it's coming. It's coming. I'm gonna hang out with my man Ty down in Arizona. We're gonna root for Team USA, obviously. Oh, Jorge's pointing to. Hopefully, you can get it down there. Have a good time. Maybe we can go down there as the dish, and maybe we can interview somebody. We'll wear a big, huge press badge, and like the old school, like TV shows and shit.
But
And
it'll
see
be
if
on
we-
like a loose leaf paper and they'll be written backwards.
Yeah, it'll be on like a note card or something in crayon.
There you go.
But yeah, watch out. Rangers have reached out for DeGrom, Rondon, and Senga. So there's going to be a lot of fun for free agency in the next coming weeks. But it was a pleasure. Had fun with you guys. You guys let me eat my big ass burger on the show. But be good, y'all.
What's up, Storms?
Oh, my final thoughts. Cincinnati Reds, for the love of God, find a way to get rid of Moose.
One for three Moose.
He's not such a terrible player. I can't wait to get rid of him, but that contract is so bad. So bad. He's making, I think, like, what is it, 17 million this next year?
Yeah.
Just bad. Hell, that's all I really got, man. Don't miss the show next week.
Yeah, definitely don't miss the show. We're gonna have him on. We're gonna talk baseball, kick it with him, talk these awards, talk more free agents. Coming from the dish, the guru category, Kyle, and category. Just because you like Moose, I'm gonna buy you a jersey.
I will send you a video